So what's happening guys, it's me Parth and welcome to 2018, and there are so many things that I've planned for 2018 for the channel that you will start seeing eventually. Starting today itself, the second day of 2018, when I want to talk about what I think has been the best contender for the post of best bang for buck smartphone for the longest time, at least for me. Now there are so many phones that can actually compete and fill in this post. But if I had one chance and one shot at getting the most complete smartphone package at a pretty aggressive price tag, it would be none other than the Redmi Note 4, and here's why. Pro number 1, the build. Most of the Redmi Note 4 is metal, which means you will mostly be touching a surface that feels premium to the hand. Oh, and also a metal build, apart from feeling amazingly cold during the mornings, also makes the device much robust and sturdy. It's also got a good heft to it, which, believe it or not, adds to the premium feel. The buttons are decently tactile, there is no camera bump, and overall it feels you're getting way more than what you pay, at least with the construction and build materials chosen. But you do need to get a case for this since it might slip out of your hands pretty easily. Just wanted to mention that. Pro number 2, the battery. So the Redmi Note 4 is 5.94 inches tall, 3 inches wide and 8.5 millimeters thick, and it packs a 4100 mAh battery, which is absolutely its best feature. In comparison, the Mi A1, which has a slightly bigger body, packs a 3080 mAh battery, which is kinda strange. So the battery life on the Redmi Note 4 is obviously some of the best in the business. You can basically get about 5 to 7 hours of screen on time on normal usage, which basically means that if you use the device not so heavily, it can last for 2 days on a single charge, which is insanely convenient. Even on heavy use, you rarely have to charge the phone in a single day. It's spectacular, and I don't think I can speak the same for any other smartphone. Pro number 3, the performance. Specs wise, this has a Snapdragon 625 with the 14nm design and 3 or 4 GB of RAM depending on what model you choose. And even after an year of run, it does not disappoint. It carries out every task normally and smoothly. It has great RAM management, and most importantly, it does not lag or glitch in the middle of the usage. So the bottom line is, it's a great user experience. You can game on it too, although in high-end games there is definitely an FPS drop, but most of you shall be fine with this. Oh, and also it is the processor itself that is so power efficient, because of which the Redmi Note 4 has one of the best battery lives of all the smartphones, even after an year of run and probably multiple software updates. It's a good architecture. Pro number 4, the screen. So this has a pretty big screen at 5.5 inches, and it's a full HD screen, so about 400 pixels every single inch, and it's enjoyable. This is what makes the phone a bit big, but truth be told, a big screen is something we really relent in getting initially, but once we get it, it's hard to go back because of the convenience it provides. And this is actually a pretty nice panel. It's not a dull display, it's much punchier than the one on the Mi A1, and it gets fairly bright too, at about 400 to 450 nits. So it's a good outdoor visibility. Lastly, let's talk about the camera. Now, this is something you normally expect to be the weakest link of a budget smartphone, and the camera in the Redmi Note 4 is just that. It's the weakest asset of the phone, but it still is a pretty good worth for the price you're paying. It clearly does not have a dual lens, so you do miss out on something like a portrait mode, and yeah, it manages to deliver some pretty terrible looking results in low light, but in most good lighting conditions, it actually performs really well. It's a bit sensitive to hand movements, like a lot of other Xiaomi devices, so you do end up with pretty shaky results sometimes, but when you get it, it produces some really good looking images which have a very pleasing and subtle shallow depth of field. Also, Xiaomi's camera app has some of my favorite filters which perform spectacularly well. You can go from something like this to something like this. Completely changes the mood of the image. So it's a pretty decent Instagram or Snapchat camera. The rest of the stuff is subjective, like the design, the way this looks. No doubt it's a pretty boring design. It's got those huge bezels and the old 16:9 aspect ratio, which will actually be upgraded to 18:9 in its successor, but then some may care about it and then some might not. The software too is subjective. A lot of people like this because it is MIUI, but then a lot of people also dislike it because it does not have a lot going on up front, like the missing app drawer, which actually a lot of people crave for, and also because it may delay future software updates. But if you look at the entire offering, at least from my perspective, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. And as I said, if I had one chance at getting the most complete smartphone package at a pretty aggressive budget, it would be the Redmi Note 4. Let me know what you feel about this. I'm pretty sure there will be so many people who disagree with me, and so I'd like to hear from you. What do you think is the best budget phone as of early 2018? That's been it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this quick video, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care.